my name is Mary and this is Quinn Inc. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button if you want to see more tutorials on how to crochet unique items. Today I'm going to crochet this little ghost for you. I thought it would be very cute and very awesome. It has two eyes and a smiling little mouth. So if you're all ready, let's get started. Okay, so the tools that you are going to need for this little cute ghost in order to crochet it are very simple. You're going to need a crochet hook. This one is a G6 4.25 millimeter hook. You're going to need a tapestry needle to sew on the eyes, the mouth, and to sew in all your strings. And you're going to need a pair of scissors to cut everything off. And then the next items that you are going to need is some yarn. So right here I have some Red Heart Super Saver, and this one is going to be soft white. You're not going to need very much for the little ghost here, so that's always good. Let me move my tools. The next set of yarn you're going to need, this one is also Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo. And this one is going to be black, and you will not need very much for this one as well. I did about 12 inches to probably 24 inches of yarn. You probably won't need that much at all. Okay, so let's get started with crocheting our little ghost. Okay, so grab your white yarn and your 4.25 millimeter G6 hook, and let's get started. So to start your little ghost, you're going to make a slip knot. So I'm going to wrap it around my fingers and make a circle. Put it behind the circle, put my hook into the circle, and grab that little piece of yarn and just pull. Pull your tail out of the way. Okay, now you're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're just going to yarn over and pull up a loop, and that's all you do. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to go back to the beginning of our first chain. We're going to make a loop. This is how you make a chain 4 loop if you don't like to make a magic circle. I do not like to make magic circles because I want my project to be more secure. We're going to make, a chain. So you're going to chain 1, and we are going to do 12 double crochets right into this circle. So yarn over, go into the circle, grab yarn, and pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. Make sure not to split your yarn. Pull through 2. Grab your working yarn and pull through 2 more. And we're just going to make 12 double crochets right into that circle. I'm going to make the 12 double crochets and I will be right back with you. Okay, so I made 11. Now if you feel like you can't get back into that circle, just pull on your double crochets to get back into that circle. So this one is number 12. Always make sure to count them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this is 12. Now we're going to move your tail out of the way. You're going to slip stitch into the top of that double crochet, not into the chain, into the top. So right here, yarn over, go into both of those bars, pull up a loop, and then pull right through. And sometimes I like to kind of pull on it and make sure, and then you can take your little tail in the back right here and just kind of hold it and then just pull, and what that does is it closes the hole. Okay, so that was round 1 of our little ghost. Now we're going to work on round number 2. So we're going to chain 1 and we're going to single crochet into the very first stitch. Now when we're making this little ghost, and as you can see right here in the middle, That was the 12 double crochets. Now the second row right here where the eyeballs are, this is where we're going to start rounding him off. And we're going to start making his shape of his head, and then we're also going to start making the bottom piece right here, which is his little tail. Okay, so I'm going to put him off to the side so you can see him. So you're going to single crochet in the first stitch where we slip stitched, and then you're going to make a half double crochet. So you're going to, yarn over, go back into that stitch, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop. Grab your working yarn, pull through all three for a half double crochet. Then you're going to make 2 double crochets into the next stitch, all into that same stitch. Double crochets are yarn over into that stitch, grab your working yarn, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So 2 double crochets into that very same stitch. You're going to do 2 more double crochets into the next stitch. So there's 1, and here's number 2. If you're wondering what that dark thing is, it's this yarn right here. Okay, so 2 double crochets. Now I'm going to do a treble crochet. Yarn over twice, go back into that stitch, grab your working yarn, make sure you're always going under both bars, not just one. Grab your working yarn, pull up a loop. You have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. Now we're going to do something a little different. So now here you're going to chain 2. Now I can't remember what this is actually called, but I'm going to move in a little closer. You're going to see these little bars at the bottom of your chain 2. You're going to go under one of those bars and then under the other bar like this. You're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull right through for a slip stitch. And this is kind of going to make this, I think it's called a picot stitch. So we're making that. We're going to yarn over twice, go back into that same stitch for a treble, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, grab your working yarn, pull through 2, grab your working yarn, pull through 2, and grab your working yarn and pull through 2. And there you are. So you've made 2 trebles, 1 treble with a picot, and then another treble. I don't know why I felt like this turned out really interesting. It just kind of gave it more of that head shape. And the picot stitch is actually right here on the very top of his head. And in that picot stitch, when we go to round number 3, you're going to put a single crochet and 2 chain 2 single crochet right into the hole of that picot stitch, if I'm saying it right. So then the next thing we're actually going to do is 2 more double crochets. So 1 into that same stitch and 2. Okay, and then into the next stitch you're going to do a half double crochet, grab some more yarn, and you're going to do 2 single crochets in the next 2 stitches. So 1 single crochet into this stitch, 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then into the next stitch we're going to do a half double crochet, and into the next stitch we're going to do a half double crochet, and into the next stitch, which will be your very last stitch, is what it looks like here. We're actually going to do 2 double crochets. Try this out. 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. And the very last thing we're going to do is we're actually going to work into this lovely little fake stitch, and you're going to do a half double crochet, and then into the top of the first single crochet right here, you're just going to put a slip stitch right into there. And if you turn your work, I am very sorry, I didn't even realize this, but the bottom, this little piece right here is actually his tail. Excuse me. So this was not his head, this was his tail. So we made this portion of the tail piece and the rounding of the head, as you can see. I am very, very sorry about that. So we're going to make his tail a little more rounded than this little piece right here. Okay, so the next one we're going to work on is round number 4. Round number 4. So we're going to do something a little bit different. Instead of going around this way, we're now going to turn our work and go around this way, because we're going to start working on the head of our little ghost. So we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch like this. And then what we're going to do is we're now going to turn our work, chain 1, and back into that slip stitch. We're going to half double crochet 4 times over the next 4 stitches. Okay, so yarn over, go back into that slip stitch under both bars like this. Grab your working yarn and pull up a loop. Grab your working yarn, pull through all 3. That's 1. Back into the next slip stitch for 2 half double crochets, 3, and 4. 4 half double crochets. Boom. And there we go. So that's starting to round off our little ghost's head. Now we're going to put 2 half double crochets into the next stitch, all into that same stitch. So 1 and 2. Okay, and then into the next 4 stitches we're going to do 4 half double crochets. So 1, 2, let me pull up some more yarn, 3, and 4 half double crochets. And next we're going to do 4 single crochets up to this peacock. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4 right there. Okay, so 4 single crochets. So into the stitch, no yarning over, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, grab your working yarn, pull through both loops. That is a single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and 1 more is number 4. Now, as I said earlier on round number 3, you're going to try and find, I'm going to try and see if I can find the middle, and I think this one is going to be the middle. So wherever you can put your hook into will be the middle. So let me grab a little needle and show you. So right here, you can pull it apart. That is the middle of our peacock stitch. You're going to stick your hook in there, and we're going to do a single crochet. We are now going to chain 2, and you're going to put another single crochet back into that peacock stitch, just like that. And that will actually round off your tail for your little ghost. Because I didn't want kind of a triangle one, I wanted more like a rounded little tail. Okay, so next what we're going to do is, let me look at my instructions. We're going to single crochet 4 times down the bottom of the, down the side of the tail. Oops, I split my stitch. So 2, 3, and 4. Now we have reached our very last stitch, and in this one you're actually going to do a, let's see here, we're going to do a half double crochet. And then in the top of this, I believe it was a half double crochet, we're just going to slip stitch. So you're just going to go into the top, grab your working yarn, and pull right through. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be round number 4. And as you can see, it's starting to look like a ghost. Okay, so we are now done with making our little ghost. I'm so excited, he's done. So now what we can do is we can fasten off. The way that I like to fasten off is I like to grab my scissors, cut my yarn, wrap my yarn around my hook and pull right through, and then just pull on it tight. And then what you can do is you can either sew these strings in, which I did at the very end because I actually used this wonderful little string back here on this ghost to kind of hide some of the white in his eyeball. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to grab our tapestry needle, and we're going to grab some black yarn, and we're going to start sewing these little eyeballs and this cute little mouth on here. Now if you're wondering how I got this mouth to stay, I know you can't really see it very well, but I actually sewed some black yarn into the sides of the mouth right here to keep it from going up like this, because it kept wanting to go up and close the mouth. And if you want to do that, you can leave it like that. If not, you want it more open and smiley like this. I'm going to show you how to do all this. Okay, so I'm going to grab my black yarn, cut it about maybe 12 to 24 inches, maybe even a little shorter, and then we're going to start working on the eyes and the mouth. And on the back you are going to see some black, and that's okay. I tried to hide it as best as I could. It is a little difficult. You can actually use this little guy as an applique to put on garments, baggies, cardigans, anything you would like. Okay, so I'm going to grab my yarn and we'll be back, and we're going to crochet these lovely little eyes and mouth. Okay, so we are back. And here is our little ghosty. I'm so excited. He's going to start looking like this little guy. So that's excited. So he's going to have a little brother. Woohoo! Just kidding. Okay, so make sure that your needle is threaded with your black yarn. The other thing you can do is you can also make sure that your needle has a bigger eye hole if you cannot get your black yarn through your eye hole needle. Okay, so in order to start these wonderful, we're going to start with the eyeballs first. We're going to start with the left one, and then we're going to move on to the right one. Then we're going to move on to the mouth. Okay, so in order to start this, you're actually going to look at your crochet. And how I ended up doing this was from this top row right here. Don't look at the bottom here. Look at the top. You're going to find these two double crochets that we did on the second row right here. They're very easy to find, so you're going to look down here at the first row, look up, and you'll see these two double crochets into the same stitch right here, 1 and 2. We're actually going to look over here at the wonderful half double crochet that we did over here. And this lovely half double crochet is where we're going to put our first little eye. Now, what I ended up doing was I actually ended up going through in between this stitch, and as you can see, I'm not behind the stitch going under like this and into it. I'm actually going under the 2 bars. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your needle and find the first stitch and pull it up like that, and then find the second one and pull it up, and you're going to put your needle right through. You're going to pull it nice. Yes, I have a lot of black yarn. Pull it through however much you have. And this is where our first eye is going to be. And then you're going to tie it onto that stitch. I'm going to pull a little bit more out so I can sew it in for later. Okay, we're just going to tie one. Trying to grab it. There we go. So you tied that. Now if you don't like this little tail, grab your crochet hook, poke it right through, grab onto that yarn and pull it through the back. That will give your yarn tail out of the way and into the back so you can work. Now that we have this tied on to the 2 strings, we are now going to start doing some sewing. Now let me make sure I've got it onto the 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in between those stitches again, and what we're going to do is we're just going to start going under and around. So we're going to make some round, not sure the word, and I'm just going to keep pulling on it, making sure my eyes are doing pretty good. Don't want to see any white, and that's all I'm going to do, and it'll start looking like an eyeball, just like that. And what you can do is you can do this about 3, maybe 4 times, however many times you feel that this little guy needs to be thick and you don't see any more white yarn. Okay, I think, make sure, I think I'm going to do it one more time just to make sure. And you're just going in between those 2 stitches that we went into when we tied on our yarn. There we go. So there we go. There is the first eye. Now you can see those 2 double crochets pretty well. We're going to go over into the next stitch right here and do the same exact thing. And you're probably wondering, oh, well, now we're going to go this way like this? No, 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 no. We're actually going to go in between the 2 double crochets like this. Zoop. Okay, you're going to go right in between the stitches, not in the back of the stitches like this, in between the stitches. So as if you're trying to sew your strings in. Okay, right in between those stitches, like you're sewing your strings in. You're just going to pull up. What that's going to do is it's going to hide that really long black yarn so nobody sees that. And there is our next stitch. There's our 2 bars we want. And I'm going to do it right under the 2 bars. 1. And here's number 2. And you can do the best that you can to get under those bars. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. But this is a good way to hide your yarn into your yarn. And there we go. And now, yes, we're going to see this long piece right now. But you won't as you go around, just like this, under the 2 bars. Pull up your yarn. And it's going to go around the 2 bars like this. And you don't pull on it too tight. Make sure it's kind of loose. You don't want it really, really tight. I think that's one thing I started doing in the very beginning, was making it really tight, and it was too tight. So you just want to make this kind of loose, going under both of those bars and pulling up. I'm going to call these loops. You're going to pull up these loops around these 2 bars, making eyes like this. And if you feel like you could still see it, don't pull it too apart. Push them together like this, kind of push on it. Whoop, there we go. And as you can see, this thing is starting to want to go up, and so you see like white. If you like the white, that's fine. I kind of squeeze them together with my fingernails and then pull on it slightly. And we're going to go under those 2 bars again. Now what I did was I did this about 3 times. 3 to 4 times. I think I did this one 3 times and I did this one 4 times because I felt like the eyes just weren't there yet. And then we're going to squeeze this together like so. But that's how you hide your stuff. And I'm going to do it one more time. And this time, on the very top right here, I'm going to go into these stitches underneath them, like this. Okay, but I'm going to go more in the back here, and then up through, like this. And I'm just pulling on it nice and slowly. I don't want this yarn to get tangled. And I want to make sure it gets in the right place. And there we are. Boom. Just like that. And so now you have two eyes. Kind of cute, huh? Now if you feel your eyes are too small, you can also go over to this stitch and make them a little bigger. But I'm not going to do that. Okay, so there are the eyes. And as you can see, I kind of split the yarn, so I'm going to go back through. There we go. There are your cute little eyes. And you don't have to put them right here in the middle. You can actually make them more outward, so if you wanted them more out here, you can do that too. I just felt that this is the middle of my little ghosty. So right where the middle was, I felt the two eyes would be perfect right there. Okay? You can also do your eyes at the bottom here, so then that way he kind of looks like he has a little crown maybe at the top of his head, and he has like a little round tail down here. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the mouth. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the mouth. And like I said before, now you're wondering, where is the mouth going to be? Well, if we grab our little ghosty from the other one, this is the first row that we did with the 12 double crochets. And right here in the middle, as you can see, this is the middle right here. So we're actually going to go right in the middle where that spacing was from the beginning, where I did the 4 double crochets. And your mouth is going to kind of go out. Now you can put your mouth wherever you like. If you want it more up here, you can do that. If you want it more down here, you can do more down here, you can do that. I felt the middle was perfect, nice perfect spacing. One of my eyeballs is sideways and one of my eyeballs is more up and down. Just kind of how it happened. I think it looks kind of cute and unique. Now, in order to get to this middle piece that I was talking about right down here, I'm actually going to go right up through those 4 loops and into, as you can see my needle, into that double crochet, and then I'm going to go into the back like this, and then we're going to pull on it. And I'll show you what it looks like as you're pulling on it. So you're going to pull it right through the eye to get down to that middle part. Make sure you do not get any tangles. So we'll pull that out. Whoop, wrong one. Kind of hold your loop as you're pulling too. What that is also going to do is it's going to secure that cute little eyeball. Now these ones came out a lot better than this little guy, but I think he's kind of winking, so I thought that was cute. There you go. Now we're going to take our needle, had to find it, and we are actually, let me think how I tried to do this. I think I came up through the back actually, excuse me. So I had to determine where are my 2 lip pieces going to start and where is my bottom piece of my lip going to start, because you're going to meet all of this right into the middle. That's where everything's going to be, right in, this is your middle part, and this is where everything's going to meet. So if you take a look at your double crochets, I think my lips are going to go on this one right here. And since that's the one I'm going to determine, I'm going to grab a stitch marker. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. So I grabbed myself a little stitch marker. I'm going to grab my crochet hook, and hopefully I can get this right into the stitch. I believe it's right here. So I'm going to just go right through it. grab onto my little stitch marker and pull it right through if I can get it through, and I quit splitting my stitches. There we go. Okay, so that is going to tell me where I'm going to want my mouth. I want it right there. I like it there. And then I'm just going to go down. I'm going to go down and follow it over to this stitch. So I know it's going to be right there. Okay, so in the back of your thing, if you want this to be more, oh, I don't want anyone to see this, more seamless. Okay, so I'm going to put my finger on it right here, flip it over, and I'm going to go through my stitches like this. Okay, so you're going to go through those stitches. You're going to pull your yarn through. Move your tails out of the way so they don't follow you with you. Do this slowly so you do not get any tangles. Then, where your finger is, hopefully you got it on the, I got it on the right place. I'm going to go, excuse me, I'm going to go right back into that stitch. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to pull my yarn right through, just like this. I know this is where I want my mouth to be. Okay, so now I'm going to pull it out just a little bit. And what you can do is you can kind of fold it over as well, like this, and go, yeah, I like that, that's cute. And then you'll go right back into that hole in the back. You're just going to go right through the hole. Okay? Just like this. Don't want to take your stitch marker with you. I'm going to just pull it right out, and there we go. It's right into that wonderful hole. And then you're going to look on the back, and as you can see, I went right through a stitch as well. So you can actually, I'm actually going to leave that because that was an accident. And then I'm going to turn it back around and go, okay, that's adorable. I like that. My next piece is going to be right over here. So I'm going to put my finger there again. And we're going to flip it upside down. And I'm going to go through these lovely little stitches right here one more time. Hopefully getting closer to where my finger is. My thumb is also there too. And I'm going to pull right through. So I'm showing you how to make this seamless if you are making it for someone, and then we're just going to go right here where my finger is, and we're going to just pull right through. Okay, make sure you get all your tails out of the way. They do like to come in there with everything. They're like, yay, we're having a closing off party. No. Okay. Again, you're going to pull this down one more time and take a look at it and go, yes, I like it. Or if you don't, what you can do is you can kind of pop it over. Okay, let's see here. Sorry. What you can do is you can take the yarn and pop it over a tad. Like, let's say you want it up more. So you can just pull it right through like I just did. And you can actually find a more taller place. So then if you're like, oh yeah, that's fantastic, and then you pull it down and you're like, I like that better. There you go. So yeah, I do actually like that better. So now I'm going to go back in. Now this time, oh, I'm sorry, you got to get my fingers out of the way. This time I'm going to go through the black yarn as I'm going through the back like this. And that way it's going to secure, and we're going to see how this looks. Boop. So that one's up a little bit more, this one's a little more down. That is quite alright. You don't like this one, I'm going to show you a really easy way to fix it without having to pull out your stitches, because I absolutely do not like pulling out my stitches. So what we're going to do is, let's say you're like, oh man, this one's longer, this one's shorter, I don't like it, and you don't want to go any further with the mouth. you want to stop right here. You can either leave it and it's cute, or we can go back in the back, and guess what? We're going to go back through those white stitches. We're going to pull up like this, okay? Those out of the way. Turn it back around. Now you're going to come up through the back, and you're going to do this from the front. Try and feel with your needle where that's at. There it is, see? You're going to go through that black yarn, pull on up through like this, okay? Nice and seamless. Yeah, you can see a little bit of black, but that's okay. And then you're going to figure out how far up more you want it. So if you're holding it and you're like, ah, boom, that's perfect, then you'll go right through that white stitch right there, and you'll pull it right through. Okay, and there you go. That's how you do it. And you're like, oh wow, then that way you didn't have to pull out any more yarn. You didn't have to cut it. You didn't have to redo it. Very quick and simple and easy. Now, he's a smiler and he's a mouth open happy person. We are still going to do the mouth open happy person. So I'm going to show you how to do this, because on my last one, I just kind of left the mouth because I felt it was good. Okay, so now we're at the very top here. This is a perfect place because now we're going to want to take our yarn and kind of go down like this and into that mouth. Excuse me, into that spacing. I call it a mouth. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to, turn over the back like this. Try and go through the very top piece of the black yarn like this. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect. Go through the black piece of that yarn. Okay, make sure the back looks good. Okay, back looks good. This is where we're at. And then you're kind of gonna turn the little mouth like this. See how more of a wider opening you want. If you're like, I want it really wide, or so if you want it really wide open, like let's say like this, where he's like super happy, yay, you can do that. I just want mine a little bit happy. Now this one looks a little funky and weird, so we're gonna go right here. I like to kind of put my thread where how big I want my mouth to open, and I'm gonna go underneath instead of straight directly into that spacing. So as you can see, the spacing is right there, and I went directly underneath it, and I'm going to pull right through just like this. And see what I was talking about? So you wanted it more open like this, and instead your mouth decided to close up. Now you can have it close up if you like. If you don't like that, we're going to come back around and I'm going to show you what to do. So now that we have our little mouth like that, we're going to go back. I'm going to try and go through one of these little white pieces. And as you can see, I went through one of the little white pieces. Okay, just a little split. And I'm trying to go back through the black yarn because we're going to go back up. Because we want all of this to be connected. And there you go, see, you don't see anything in the back, nice and seamless. And we're gonna take our yarn again and see how wide we want that mouth to be open. So I thought that would look really good. And don't worry, we're gonna go back into this black yarn as well. Okay, so right back into the black yarn. So then that way it connects. Oh, and make sure you don't go through your yarn in the back. So you want to pull him out of the way. Okay, back right through. Fold that over, pull on it. Make sure, he needs to move out of the way. Make sure you're pulling on it. And there it goes again. And if you like it like that, you can leave it, but I don't. I want the mouth to be open like this one. So I'm going to show you. Excuse me, my watch is in the way. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to open the mouth more. So it looks more like, this one is splitting. So it looks more like an open, smiling mouth like that. Okay? So fantastic. So we're going to now find the middle portion right here. Okay, so I'm going to put my needle right through. Now we're not going to go through this way because we already have our yarn in the back and we want to keep it nice and seamless. So what I'm going to try and do is go through this yarn like this, just a little bit. Go down through the, so you want to go down because you know your mouth is right there. So you want to try and go down through these stitches. Don't go down too far. We'll go under this one, and we'll go under probably about, let's go under 3. So I have 1, 2, and 3 on my needle, and I'm going to go through 3. And you always want to make sure that all your yarn tails are out of the way so they don't get caught up in there. And if you want to, you can. Okay, fantastic. And we're going to come back around, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of poke my needle through right here to see where I'm at. Okay, so I'm right there. So I'm going to go under and try and poke it. Sorry, my needle was here, and I'm going to try and poke it through the yarn. So I'm going to pull out just a little bit and poke it right through the yarn like this. Okay, so I want to see if that is where I want my mouth opening to be. Now, if it is not, you poke it out like this and then poke it through to where you do want it. If you want it, let's say right there, pull it right through. Again, making sure none of your tails come through. Okay, that's where you want it. You're like, that is perfect. I like that mouth opening. You're going to go back through your yarn, your black yarn right here. Okay, and you're going to poke right on through to the back, just like that. Okay, and what that is going to do, well, it's kind of funny, is it will hold that mouth opening. And as you can see, the difference between this side and this side, the mouth opening is held. So it's now down, it is not open, or it is not closed, and your little ghosty has an open mouth. Now with this one, he's being a little difficult. He's like, I don't want to open. This one, we're going to go on the same side and open the mouth again. And so I'm going to put my finger right where I want that opening. Okay, I'm going to hold him. And then I'm going to go through a little more stitches because that's where my thumb is too. So we're going to go down through the stitches. Okay, and I'm going to pop out at the end here, right there. And I'm going to pull through, hoping that all my tails are not getting in the way. And I am going to go back up through. Now I'm going to go to right about there. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. Now this isn't an exact science, this is just something I have learned over the years. And then I'm going to poke my yarn needle and try and touch my finger like this, making sure that is where I wanted the mouth to be open. Now you can kind of mess with it and kind of pull it open. Don't do it What I would suggest is don't pull on it too hard, just where you want it to be. We're going to pull it right through. Yes, my yarn is a little split. That is okay. Your yarn's going to split a little bit, but there you go. That's where I want it. I'm going to pull this one back a little bit more because I want the mouth open a little more. So right where I had pulled it, I am going to go in through it just a little bit like this. And then I'm going to pull right through. And there you go. Your little ghosty mouth is now open. And I made it nice and seamless for you. Now you're probably wondering, oh, well, how am I supposed to tie in all my strings? And what if I tie this and all these wonderful black strings are everywhere? And now the back part doesn't really matter, you know, because most people aren't going to look on the back and see all your strings and stuff. Nobody really, quite honestly, I don't feel nobody really gets too crabby or weird about stuff like that. What I'm doing is I'm trying to get to the middle part right there because I see some black yarn, and that's where I can tie it off real nicely. That's all I'm doing. You can tie it off at the top right here where the black pieces are, because in that way I can blend it real nicely. So I see a black little thread right here, and I'm just going to poke my yarn. I'm going to poke my needle right through just like this, as you can see, hopefully. And I'm just going to pull my yarn through. Now if you have a different way of how you tie things off, go ahead and use that one. Mine is a little different. I'm just going to pull it through one loop and then make a new loop and pull on that loop. And then I'm just going to pull this right through the next loop. And then what I do is I pull on it nice and slowly. And then I hold on to that and I pull on it tight. And there you are. There's your nice little knot. And then I like to secure my stuff, so I'm going to go back through these little white stitches. Just like that. Pull right through. And then I like to take my needle and pull my white yarn over that. And there you are, nice and hidden. And what we're going to do is we're going to just, when you're snipping your black yarn, make sure you do not get too close to your white yarn. And what you can always do is just pull stitches, pull that inside and pull stitches on over. Just like that. And if you don't want to, you know, tie in any of your strings. Oh, my scissors aren't that sharp right now. There we go. See? And then you can just kind of tuck that inside, just poke it inside, and there you are. Now you are going to see some black. That's okay. You know what? It still looks good. It's more seamless than I was doing on this side. This side I kind of went a little funky and totally forgot. But there you are. There is your beautiful little ghost. All I'm going to do is sew in these cool little strings. Another thing you can do is just, I'll give you a real quick one. Take your hook and just go in and out of the stitches just like this. Go under the bars, wrap and pull through just like this. And you can do it to, I'm going to do it with one more. Just like this. And then you can snip. And there you are. See, that was really easy. And then with this little guy, I'm going to take my yarn needle one more time, my crochet hook, and I'm going to open up some white stitches, and all I'm going to do is take this, and I'm going to pull it right through here, just like that. Yeah, you're going to have a little bit of a wide opening. That's okay. This yarn piece right here is actually Excuse me, let me pull this out real quick. I didn't even realize. This is actually your closing. So you want to pull on this pretty tight. This one actually closes that hole, and I should have done it down here. Sometimes you can get your yarn hook under these stitches like this, and then pull it through nice and slowly. Sometimes it doesn't always allow you to, but that is one way you can do it without actually, there you go, without actually sewing in your strings. I did that one for many years because I got tired of sewing in all my little strings. So, and yeah, you're going to see this little piece poke out. You can just take your yarn needle. Excuse me, you can take your crochet hook. And another thing you can do too is if that one pokes out too much, you can go through the stitches like this and then pull it through each of the stitches like so. So that is another thing you can do if the stitches pop out, or you can sew them in. But there you go. There is your ghost. You are going to want to take some of your mouse sometimes and just kind of pull it down with your fingernail, and it will stay. There you go. There's the 2 ghosts. My other ghost now has a brother, so that's awesome. Woohoo. I hope you guys really liked this video. I'm sorry it was so long. I am actually going to make another video on how to do a crochet baggie, and this ghost is actually going to be the feature on this wonderful crochet baggie. So please stay tuned. This is now one of my series for October. It's my Halloween series, and I will be showing you cute and unique little items for Halloween and what you can use for them, or if you just want to put them on the wall, pin them on the wall and just have something Halloweenish, you can do that. So stay tuned for the next pieces of my Halloween series. I think my next one is going to be a pumpkin. But thank you so much for stopping by and watching my videos. I hope you enjoyed this wonderful tutorial of Ghosty and Ghostess, brother and sister ghosts. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.